make sure we're not getting off with the other courses. Zoom room is live. We are live as well. It means I'm being recorded. So we're on the air. Your phone needs to be away, please. For a brief second while we figure out some of the stuff that's going on here. Where is my P2 budget? Okay. So this is what I had saved as the P2 budget, because I think we were working with Omar's numbers. Oh, we're frozen. Hold on, sorry. There we go. With Omar's numbers, but it doesn't have any of the actual input yet because none of these are. Yours probably say 0, right? They don't say the sum functions.
No.
No? Okay. They do say the sum functions? Okay. But so like, for example, if I put some income in from work, let's say I made $1,000. Does yours respond like that, where the numbers change?
No.
Okay. If your numbers do not change automatically when you put in income, please raise your hand. Okay. All right. That's our goal for the start of today. I want to get everybody with the formulas set up so that the rest, or we can move on with actually putting in and organizing this spreadsheet in a way that starts working. Okay, so I'm gonna close the Zoom room. We'll go off the air. I'm gonna help you guys get caught up. And then we, once everyone's on the same level, then we can start moving on with the next things. Okay, I apologize for that. Okay. So your spreadsheet, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little in more detail. All of this budgeting portion, this is setting up our numbers so that we have data to work with, so that we can reference transactions in the future. Okay. So in order for this budget to actually work, it needs to be easy to use and easy to understand. Currently, we're just kind of putting data into boxes so that we can check back on it later. But this is not very user-friendly. The font is all weird, is blah, blah, blah. We don't know actually where to put our lines of debit yet. We don't know how to put the money that we're spending into the specific spending spots. That's what we're gonna do. Yep. That's what we're gonna do now. Okay. So all of this, you can, if you hold Shift on your keyboard. So let's start by clicking on where you want. I'm going to make these cells have borders. So if you click on the word bill expenses, if yours looks like mine, and then you hold Shift on your keyboard and go down to D11 like this, when you hold Shift and click, it's going to select all of these cells. You want to be careful clicking and dragging because it might interpret the math in a way that we don't want to. By putting kind of boxes or fences around each of the pieces of data, it helps your brain to see where like each of the important pieces of information are grouped together. It's categorization. On my screen, because I have a smaller one and I'm zoomed in, you can't see it without going to these 3 dots. But you want to look for this like window looking icon that says borders. If you click on that, and you can either add a border around the outside or a border on the all the portions so that you know that these are your available budgets for each of the different categories. It's important to create the difference between these so that you can clearly see what relates to what. That's all I need you to do for now. You can add multiple borders to these 2. I'm going to separate these into 2 more boxes, like this and like this, so that I can quickly tell the difference between these pieces of information. All of these up here are notes. Geez, I cannot type out all. These do not affect data. Okay. So in order for these budgets to count against the amounts that we have budgeted, we need to make a column that adds up all these specific transactions for bills, fund, groceries, and savings, and checks it against this sum right here to give us an accurate number of how much money that we can spend on each of these categories. So I want you guys to make your way over towards the F column so that there's a little bit of space in between the notes and the debit section of your spreadsheet. We're gonna start working on the credit section. I like to do bills, or I like to do the category and then notes so that I know what the bill is that I'm paying. And then I'm also gonna do a bills total. We're gonna repeat this process for each of the categories going along the top so that we have columns. You should have bills, notes, bills total, fund notes, funds total, and then the same thing for all the categories. Fund notes, fund total, groceries, notes, grocery total. And finally, savings, notes, and savings total. I've made my way all the way to Q. Oh, that's not helpful. Let me pull that back up. I'm going to make this spreadsheet available after I finish showing it off so you can reference it later on. But yours, if I make it bold, should look something like this. Jeez, I made it. It is just all in a row. Let me make it a little larger so you can see. All in a row, repeating the same pattern, bills, notes, bills total, yada yada. Okay. What I want you guys to do next, once you have these pieces here, all across the top, is to click on the letter for the category name and the notes for that category. So in this case, it's F and G. You notice when you click on the letters at the top, it selects the whole column. I want you to add a border to that. You can either do outer border or an all border for bills and for notes. Leave the total sections without a border. So yours should look something like this. Let me finish bordering these up and then I can savings. So I zoomed out a little bit, but yours should look something like this with 4 sections to put your information.
So far, I think I got that, but I didn't exactly know about. It is all at once.
Okay, so we're setting up. So we have to go to F. So that F1, that's the
Type
bills.
B,
I
LLS, LLS, and are we supposed to do it in a way that covers F?
Yeah, so they're just F off the top. Once you have your columns built up, we're going to write four more functions, just four more quick sum functions that are going to add up however many transactions are happening inside of these columns to give us numbers that can count against our budget. So you want to go to H2, mine is H2 because it's right underneath the words bills total. This is a really easy function because it's just the word equal or the equal sign sum. God, that's really hard to see. Let me zoom in. Equal sign sum, and we're just going to type the letter F. It should give me the whole range here. Maybe F to F. There we go. All right, so your sum total should look like this, because we're adding up the entirety of the column of F. Alternatively, you could also, with your sum like this, with the parentheses, you can just click on F and it will fill it in for you. It's going to save you some time typing. We're going to repeat this for each for fun, groceries, and savings. So hit enter. Right now it's 0 because it has no information to work with. But if I go over to K2, which is my fun total section, I'm going to go equals sum parentheses, click on the letter I, which didn't work for some reason. Click on the letter I, and it's going to add up all of the numbers in the sum column, all of the numbers here. Hit enter to make sure that yours all say 0. Grocery total, I'm going to go equals sum. I will help you one-on-one here in just a second. Equals sum, put your cursor inside of the parentheses and click on the letter. It's going to add up the whole column. Hit enter. And then finally, rinse and repeat for savings equals sum. There we go. Click on the, So this happens if your cursor is outside of the parentheses. You want to make sure that your cursor is inside the parentheses when you click on the letter for the column, because then it knows where to put the information and how to interpret it in a way that makes sense. You should all have a bunch of zeros currently in your budget, I mean. And so now the reason that there is a bills and a notes category for each is that whatever your transaction amount is, say I spent $50 on gasoline, I'm going to type the number 50 in the bills section. And then I'm going to put what that bill was in the notes section. So that was gasoline. Okay. And you'll notice bills total goes up to 50. If I spend another $100 on, I don't know, rent, for example, it's going to add up 150 to get a mind-blowing 150. But you know it's working with these simple additions like this, because it's going to add up every category of your bills so you can check it against your budget, which will happen over here. So for the remainder of class, I'm going to make sure that everybody's got their columns set up. And then we'll do tomorrow. I'll show you how to make the balances remaining portion where it counts this total against this total to give you a number of how much more you can spend without going over budget. And that will be the last couple of things that you need before you can start filling in these columns with your transactions. Okay, so let me make sure that everyone's columns are set up correct. And we'll go from there.